Hello, MLFers, and welcome to the midlife. Hi.
Hi. Hi, everybody.
I love how good you are keeping me on track. You're like, look it for one, because we always have to get like a cover shot for the podcast. And the ones have been so funny
It
that you
is
put up
not
when we're
easy.
looking, right? But I love
Yeah.
that was felt very much like a director, like one look at the camera. I was like,
Oh,
yes.
yeah. Make my life easier.
So yeah. So I hope that I was staring into your eyes, MLFer, as we started our podcast this morning.
Yes.
Wanted to share a little experience I had yesterday that I think might be a common experience for many of us. And that is, I had to have a follow up mammogram yesterday, and I was kind of freaking out about it. Have you had that happen before where you go in and they're
Yeah.
like, something to watch?
I don't know if everyone has had this experience, but I feel like it's pretty common that I'm yet to hear about anyone just going in for a mammogram and going like, "You're cool." I feel like they always have something that they're not sure what it is, so they need to freak you out and have you come back. And obviously, you want to go back and do your due diligence, but it is a disconcerting phone call. And whether it's like they just can't read it or the picture isn't clear or there's something and they can't tell what it is, it's just like, oh, I just feel bad. And I know so many of the women I know, have that panic week or you get it done on a Friday and you won't hear from them until all week. You get to sit all weekend panicking, waiting for the
Yeah.
results and stuff. So yeah,
I
I know.
actually
I
am
heard
in
it in your
that.
voice
Yeah.
yesterday.
Well, I mean, two things about that. One is I am actually of that first group that I just go in, it's routine, no problem, everything looks great, done. So to have something was even more like flip me out, right? And the second thing is that I've
Hmm.
known about this for months and I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell Dave. I didn't tell you. I didn't, I just was like, and then to a certain extent, I was a little bit proud of myself because have been in the past like a very much anxious hypochondriac. And I was like, okay, they said to come back in 2 months. I like checked in with myself. I'm like, I don't really think this is anything. And what it was just like a fluid filled cyst. I was like, I rationalized it all away. And I actually was able to put it away until I had to go take care of it yesterday. So
Mm,
but that was,
good.
yeah,
That's pretty amazing, right? I mean, the choice, right?
yeah,
Either I can continue to freak out about it, even though I don't know what it is. And I have a girlfriend that they always say, like, don't freak out until there's something to freak out about. Like, we don't worry before there's something to worry about, and like wait to that till something happens that we need to like figure out and show up for.
yeah.
So I remember that in these moments, and I think it's helpful.
Well, the worry is so interesting too, because I think the worry contributes to illness for sure. So that's number one.
For
I also
sure.
think
The stress of it.
yeah, but worry can be very helpful at times too. So there have been times in my life where I've worried, and it took me a long time to connect the dots that I could alleviate the worry by taking care of something. And in this case,
Hmm.
I did put it away for a while and then I started to worry about it. And the reason I was worrying about it was because it was time to make the follow up appointments. I was like, oh, okay. Like this is here for a reason. I have to address this. I did. So it's like it's a
Love
matter of
it.
like managing it, but then also using it.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that would be feelings 101 to me. It's like when the feeling shows up and you feel it, it's like instead of just staying in the feeling, it's like, why is it here? Right? What is it here to help me? What is it here to tell me? Right? And so that's so perfect that that's exactly what you did. It's like, oh, so the worry's back, and that means it's time to make a new choice, right? There's something to be done here, and you're right. I think a lot of us, it's like we're afraid of the answer and finding the truth, so we just don't. And so you sit in the worry and you sit in the stress and you sit in whatever the unknown is and you build that stress. And, it's like, what's worse? Just not worrying until there's something to worry about and go find the information, or sitting in that just thick stress that, we know is really the worst thing you could do for yourself.
Yeah.
So how do we
The
get
other
past that when we're like, what do we do? Like, you held on to it for yourself, but it didn't eat at you. And when it started to eat at you, you did something. But what about when we hold on to it and it is eating at us?
Yeah. Well, I mean, just to remind everybody listening, that I am a feeler, a remedial feeler. I'm like, I have to go through like summer school because I spent a lifetime ignoring feelings, either, well, like on a scale, on a complete opposite end of the scale, either completely ignoring them or over feeling them and doing nothing about them so that they were like kind of crushing.
Mm.
Because I mean, I'm thinking of a specific example. Like I had a swollen lymph node under my arm for like over a year where I was like planning my funeral and like
Mm.
thinking about, I mean, just
Hmm.
like horrible, horrible stuff until I finally did something about it, which that was a horrible experience where the doctor before surgery told me that I for sure had lymphoma before it had been biopsied. So that was a divine 24 hours. Turned out it was
Oh,
nothing, right? Because things happen.
oh,
Your body does things for a reason. Like so obviously something had gotten in my system and my lymph node did its job. It caught it and it whatever had it removed and it was all benign. And so thank God. But that I have specific memories of like being on vacation with my family, looking at my children and like having to go inside the hotel and cry because I had already decided what was happening instead of actually going to a doctor and
oh.
figuring it out. Right. So like how terrible. And then with this thing coming up, I just kept telling myself, okay, if it's something, that's why I'm going. So that you can do something about
Right.
it if it is something. And that's a good thing.
Right. Make your choices. Right. I always say gather the information. Like doesn't mean you have to follow what the doctor says. It doesn't mean like, that big decisions need to be made no matter what information you get. Just gather the information, take a beat and, move from there. Whether you want to get more opinions or everything's fine or, you need more information, you need to understand it better. I think it's about that ownership of it's your body. And so this information is for you to decide what you're going to do with that information and how you are going to take best care of yourself moving forward. Right. And so I
Yes.
think that there's a part of us that thinks we aren't in control of our body, like, especially because, the doctor and that hierarchy of like, they know
Mm,
best. So you have to do whatever they say. And it's like, well, just take a beat, like, take their information and sit with it and talk to yourself, talk to your people that you love, talk to other people, whatever, make your choices and know that you really are in control and they're just there to give you the information they have.
right. And actually, I have a yes, but with this, to be honest. So the doctor says it's absolutely benign. No other measures need to be taken. And there's a part of me that will discuss with my doctor the yes, but it's not supposed to be there. So, like, why is it there? Does it need to stay there? What are the risks to taking it out? If I leave it in, does it have the potential of deciding to become something? So, like, I think that also because we have agency over our bodies, that whether the news is good, bad, what you wanted to hear, what you didn't want to hear, you have like an obligation to yourself to see it all the way through. Like, I don't feel like just this report should just give me a pass. I have more questions and I'm going to ask them.
It's so wonderful, right? I think it's hard for people to do that. So it's such a great thing to hear, and to be reminded that and even if you leave and you're kind of in shock about the whole thing and you have that, make that list and go see the doctor.
Yeah,
Sometimes I make appointments to see my doctor just to sit with them. And I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going to pay for a visit. I have 10 questions that I want to sit across from you and see if those create more questions. And I want your expert advice, and then I'm going to see what I want to do with that too. But I think it's important that even if you don't do it in that moment, which you're so good at, that you still get to compile your feelings and your questions and go back and revisit them. And I think, yeah, it's really important information what you just gave. It's like, yeah, you just because they say like, hey, you're good, it's like, okay, what does that mean? And
yeah.
all those other questions that you just ask are so great, empowering, like more information, just keep gathering more information so you feel clear.
Yes. And I think the point of us having this conversation today is like we want to hold ourselves out as examples of the things we do right, the things that we do wrong, the things that are in our head. And so maybe if somebody's listening and you've been avoiding something or you've got a bump somewhere that doesn't feel right, you're scared to go see a doctor, or you have difficult choices to make to empower you to do something about it. You don't just have to sit and suffer. And the sooner that you act on things, the more likely you are to, one, if you just feel better in your day-to-day life, right? Or two, if there's something wrong, to be able to take care of it while you have, a window of opportunity. And scary stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, yeah, and I think that knowledge feels empowering, right? It feels like you kind of take back some control. Like you feel when you don't know enough and you don't have the answers and it all feels question marky, it's really stressful. And how do you make a choice from there? You can't make a great choice from there. And so the grounding of gathering the information, of asking the questions, of going to the doctor, just seeing, or even, having the information and still not knowing what to do, leaning on your friends and being able to say the words out loud and even be able to say, I'm scared. Does anyone know anyone that's gone through this? I mean, I have found that I have connected girlfriend, like, wait a minute, I just had a friend that went through this. You should talk to them. Like they know better than I would ever know because they've been through it. And those people usually love to reach out and share that experience because they've learned so much from it. And that's so empowering to have that, and everyone's story is totally different, even if you're going through the same thing, but it's still good to hear someone's story so that you can have that support and just kind of open your brain and your heart to new ideas, right? Because you wouldn't even know the things that they know because they just went through it.
Yeah. I also just find it
It's
interesting
like,
in reflection that I told you as I was pulling into the driveway where I was going. And we talk every day practically. And I didn't tell Dave. Usually we have that conversation in the morning, like, oh, what are you doing today? And so didn't have that conversation. And I didn't mention it to him until I left. I went and had the appointment. And I just I feel like it might be sort of like a
what was that?
self-protection mechanism, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, little fear, little unknown, and I think we do that too, where we don't want to worry people before we know the information. So, there's self-protection, but there's also protecting our people where it's like, okay, I don't really want to make it a big deal until
Ew,
I
but
have all the information,
what about the flip
sometimes.
side of the people that are on the opposite side of that tell everybody and then make it like a big drama themselves also? You know those people?
I mean, there's all people
I'm kidding.
available for all things.
Right? But
So, I think we all handle it differently. And some people, get really wrapped up in the drama and it feels that dramatic to them, right? It's really anxious and, that's how they deal. So, that you deal with keeping it quiet, right? And so sharing when you're ready, we're all just fascinating, aren't we? None of us roll the same.
Yes. But I'm being
Yeah.
snarky for a moment, sorry. But like you read this Facebook post and they're like, I could really use your like thoughts and prayers right now, or just something very open-ended, and you're like, oh my God, what is happening? Like purposely stirring up the pot. I
Yeah.
could do it.
I know.
I find that fascinating. Like if you want to share, then you might as well tell
Yeah.
everybody what is happening rather than creating this tremendous drama and a void of information.
Yeah.
Because I don't get sucked in.
I mean, and
just
sometimes
go,
they share all the information.
I prefer that. If you want people
I
to
don't
know
know.
what you're talking about, just tell them what's going on instead of being really cryptic about it, but yet being completely public about it. I don't think you get to do that. I think either you're a sharer or a not sharer, but the cryptic, I feel like that's a manipulation. So people will reach out and be like, oh my God, just being snarky.
Yeah.
You don't have to be. You don't have to go snarky with me. I'm
I
just
know.
saying. You don't have to. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
That's something
there's every
that kind of
version
drives me crazy. That drives me, irritates me.
that drives you
Irritates
crazy.
me.
Yeah, there's a lot of looking for, prayers and energy on that thing that you used to have friends on. And but what I always think is like, I'm always sending good vibes to everybody. So, check. Like,
Yeah.
I don't need to send extra today. I'm always doing it. And that is my hope. So hopefully they're all being felt, but yeah, I do feel that pull sometimes, but sometimes people need extra.
But then just either, if you're going to go public, I feel like, You need to say what you need. What's going on? I just feel like it's a complete manipulation. I don't know what else to say about it. It's a manipulation and
You
annoys me.
do? What if I
So
wrote on there, I
anyway,
was like, I got stuff going on and I need extra today. Like everyone send me extra.
I would
Would you be annoyed with
say
me?
yes, but you would never do that. I would be annoyed with you because I would say if you need extra, then you need to go to your people that are there for you for the extra and not put it into the, ether of your 500
Hmm.
not close friends of Facebook. I find it
I bet
very
there's
attention
I bet
grabby.
everyone listening has a different opinion.
Bring
I bet
it.
there's
I want
I
to
bet
hear
there's
it.
people that agree and yeah, I'm sure there's feelings on every side and they're all valid, right?
Yeah. I'm just saying if you need to reach out, by all
Yeah. I
means,
mean, I
reach
don't
out.
spend a
But
lot of time on there.
I mean, I don't either. It's hilarious, right? Because we do it all the time for the business, but I do not go on there like I used to at all. But it's a great
Yes.
way to connect with all of you, and you can always DM us because we do want to hear from you. So
Oh,
please,
for sure. We are in it for this because we have
we are in it.
intention. Where this is our gang. We want to be there with you. For
Absolutely.
sure. Well, we
Um,
just really
so
hope that you lean in and if you need extra empowerment, right? We're here too.
but you just need to
DM
tell
us,
us
email
why.
us.
But you need to tell us.
You tell Kimby why.
Know what I'm hoping and praying for.
But also, if you just need support, like go to the doctor or just being afraid, right? You need that extra push. Know that we're here to like even
Tracy's here.
energetically push you and say, go for it. Like, you're here. You are totally here. You are always supportive.
I want to
And if
know.
someone was afraid to go to the doctor, you'd be like, go to the doctor, go
Yes,
find out the information.
I
Go,
would.
you
I
would
would say
totally
go
support
now.
that. And I know that.
Yes. Because nothing, the
Go
outcome isn't going to
now.
change.
Yeah.
Whatever, I kept saying that to myself. I'm like, whatever it is, it is. Going or not going doesn't change what is happening. But the
Yeah.
long
I mean,
term,
and even as as an airy fairy body worker and whatnot in the healing world, I would say it does change. It does matter. Because if you're going to sit in the swamp of stress and you're
yeah,
going to fear and you're going to come up with all those stories, like, I'm not going to be here for my kids. I'm not going to, whatever it is, all those things, you're building that inside yourself, inside
totally.
your energetic. Like, to me, there is a difference. So go get the information just to keep yourself clean and that you're not creating more disease in your body. And I think
Yeah,
it
you're right.
actually does matter. It does matter, you know?
Can we talk about another super irritating health thing that happened to me yesterday?
Sure.
um, so um, we have always had to pay for private health insurance because my husband has his own business and we have our own business. So, people talk about, oh, it's so hard to work for other people, but having insurance from an institution is a nice benefit. So, what ends up happening is that we spend a ridiculous amount of money on insurance because our health is important to me. That is part of like what I do for my family. And if a kid's sick or doesn't feel well, like that kid is going to the doctor and we are handling it. I never want to think about all of that. But they never pay for anything. And it's really just there, like in case of emergency, really something hard. So I feel just
Mhm.
thankfully we are ripped off every year because we never really use the benefits. So I'm going to say that thank God, right? However, they're so in our business, these insurance companies, that I've been getting calls from the like an RN that works for the insurance company to discuss my healthcare, like what I should be doing or what they want me to be doing, or so that they can manage it. So I've been getting these messages. I've probably gotten like 5 messages, and I keep ignoring it. Well, yesterday I didn't feel like ignoring it because I was not ignoring my health yesterday, and I was a little pissy about all of it. So I answered the phone. Hi, this is so and so from Blue Shield. Yeah, I know why you're calling. And I said, it's not your fault. You're doing your job. But I find it completely unethical that as an insurance company that you think you can get involved in my healthcare. And I want to be taken off this list. So she said,
What they
okay,
say.
bye-bye. She was like, I'm out.
So I don't really understand. So they're trying to tell
So
you what to.
yes. So they
I
leave
don't understand.
messages like we want to
Explain
talk.
me.
They want to dictate like where you're going for care, what care you're getting, and like be part of your healthcare planning. I find it unethical. Like, that's not their job.
Yeah.
They cage it as like, oh, it's a benefit and a service of the $10 million I'm paying them a year. That we decide what we pay and what
Right.
we
Because
don't
they
pay,
want
but
to
we're
make
also
sure
going to
that
help you, decide where you're going. I mean, even down to like the medication that my kids have been taking. So my 23-year-old's been taking an asthma medication since he was 2, but nobody can make money from it anymore because it's way out of the patent and it's super old school medication, and it has one single ingredient and it doesn't poison people, and it like all, it's been around for now like 30 some odd 40 years. They won't pay for that medication anymore. And so that costs us, like $200 a month for 2 kids that are on it, because they want us to go use the new medication that has all sorts of black box warnings and stuff. So I'm just kind of
right.
sick of the involvement and feeling like I have very little choice. And actually, I have a choice, and the choice is I have to spend the money to take care of myself and my family the way that I deem appropriate. And that is a luxury that I have.
And
I don't
luckily
think
that you can.
yeah, and I don't think that
Yeah.
should be a luxury for people. Pisses me off. Thank you for
Yeah. It's
allowing me up
very
on my
upsetting
soapbox.
because yeah, it's really unfair, and it is so hard because they do make it like you don't have a choice because most people don't have that kind of dispensable income to add on top of everything else that's so rough right now. And so yeah, it is definitely a challenge.
Anyway, I have no solution for that. It's not the business we're in. But I am here to say that if you are fighting those battles, like, we want to hear from you. We're here for you. Nothing we can do about it except to love and support each other. Again, as long as I have all the details.
Yeah.
All of them.
Perfect. Oh my goodness. Well, we hope you're all well and staying that way and doing your best.
Get your regular exams. Make sure that you do the follow-up. I guess that's really my message today. And it worked out for me. It will work out for you too.
And if you're feeling stressed about something, go gather some information.
Absolutely. And then also it really helps to tell an insurance company to go fuck off. For your mood.
Okay. You heard it here.
Nice to the woman. It's not her fault. I was just very specific about my feelings about Blue Shield. All right, MLFers.
All right, all.
We love you.
Hang in there.
It's actually appropriate we had this conversation. It's Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so maybe this is all for a reason. I hope for one person, they're like, oh, this was a message to me. I need to go follow up on that, or I need to make that appointment. So if the reason we did this today was for you, go do it.
For sure.